everyone. Welcome back to Soda Chat, the gathering for marketing, tech experts, and leaders who want to help their organization get to sold out status. I'm Kay, the marketing coordinator here at Above Promotions. For those joining us for the first time, prepare for a dynamic discussion on the latest tools, innovations, policies, and strategies aimed at helping your brand sell out products or reach capacity with book services. Our last episode discussed AI powered web development with our CEO, Ebony Vaz. If you missed it, please visit our Spotify to replay the dynamic conversation. So today, we're excited to tackle three ways to use AI to help make six-figure business decisions. Hi, Ebony. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. It's another great opportunity to sit and chat. And this is, I'm so used to us just being audio only. So this whole video component and it's getting used to it. But this is going to be fun. I'm excited, and we'll just keep all the bloopers in, or maybe we take them out. I don't know.
Right, right. So, before we dive in, I want to remind the audience to stay until the end for valuable upcoming opportunities. So, be sure to listen all the way through for the details. So, let's unlock the secret through my first question. So, Avani, beyond the hype, how can AI tools go beyond simple data analysis and provide truly actionable insights for high impact six figure business decisions?
Whew, that's a long question. No. Beyond the hype. So, can we just hype? Saying hype and AI together is just so on point. We've had so much come out over the last few days. The additional big model of DeepSeek coming out of China. We've had so much hype around AI. And at the end of the day, you have to make some decisions, right? You have to make some decisions that let you know that this is going to be a good return on investment. We have security practices in mind, and we're going to be able to grow and have our workforce make better use of their time. And these are some of the things that we really just want to be able to ensure that we're effective of. So dialing back all the hype, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how quick some of these processes are running, how quick these models are adapting, if we don't have some of the basic things in place. So we need to really have an understanding of what do we already have so we can implement AI, and where do we need to go. And I think once we do that, we can effectively take out all of the hype. We can make strong decisions that will help us to have that return on investment from it.
I definitely agree with that one. Like knowing which one to use, which one we currently have, it's definitely important. So, thinking about that, like, what are the ethical considerations and potential biases to be aware of when using AI for high stakes business decisions, like particularly those impacting revenue streams?
hmm So when I think about like biases that can be in place, there could be biases on the demographics that you're trying to reach. There could be biases just on the fact that you might be using a data source that's skewed, whether it's your own or someone else's. And so we have to be very careful about that. In terms of, I've seen a lot of companies, not only from a marketing and content standpoint, but they're also utilizing AI from this standpoint of making accounting decisions, making revenue, strategy plans and goals. And I think that that could be a little bit tricky. And this is where we can start to see some of the biases come into place. So, where are you getting the data sources from? And are those sources one that you can trust? Because you can decide that you want to be able to uh, bring in certain amount of profit or revenue, but that could be based off of certain conditions that already take place. That might be based off of certain political conditions. So I think we have to understand that the biases that come into place in these decision making start around the data points, and then they end around where you think your customer is going to be. And it's very well possible that, especially in this time of so much movement going on within the markets and the economy, so much movement going on in the political realms, that I think we are seeing even more of an introduction of biases when we're selecting and we're operating and working with data. So we have to be very careful.
Yes, exactly. I definitely agree. Like, whenever like looking at this AIs that we wanted to use, we definitely need to be on the lookout when it comes to the legalities as well. So, how can businesses effectively integrate AI powered decision making tools into their existing workflows and organizational structures?
hmm So it you have to start around with a good campaign or a good playbook, right? So, when I'm talking to organizations, just like I was talking to the organization FPRA the other day about data and privacy, you have to start with a playbook. And in that playbook, you need to understand who is going to be reading it, running with it, implementing it. And so you need to bring all the people together who are going to be affected by AI. So it's not only the person who's going to be using it internally, the person that's going to be implementing it, the person who's going to have to be paying for it, the person who is going to have to be maintaining it. So it requires this playbook of sorts where you have to come together and make decisions. You have to make decisions off of what are the parameters of the data we're going to put in, what are the parameters of the use we're going to have, because you may have, for instance, we're going to take customer data that you may have obtained from some type of marketing campaign. The customer may have given you privacy, assigned your privacy permissions based off of where you were at and the tools that you were at that time. But you might need to go back and update your privacy and let your customers know that the privacy policy is changing because of the fact that you're implementing some new tools. You also need to take into consideration that just because they opted in for one division of your company and you're trying to build another division of your company doesn't mean they've opted in for that as well. So you really have to take this approach of we have to sit down, we create a playbook. How are we going to move forward? What's going to happen? What do we want this to look like in 6 months, 12 months, a year? And then that is going to help you decide like what are the parameters we're going to put around this, and then what our steps are going to be to take to implement it. And I talk to people and they seem to think that they can just turn on the switch, start using this tool today, and that's going to be great. But that's not the case. So we really have to have this playbook and this strategy about how we're going to move forward whenever we implement any tools, whether they're AI or not.
Exactly, exactly. Whenever like we are planning to test out a new marketing technology, this AIs, we definitely make sure that we have checked all things before we let our clients use it, right? And
hmm
it's definitely important. Like we always plan ahead before we keep the ball rolling. So how can small and medium-sized enterprises leverage affordable AI tools to make six-figure business decisions without breaking the bank?
So one of the things, it's going to be important to ascertain what's the priority of all of the priorities, because it's very easy for executive management teams to try to prioritize things, and in this time frame everything is moving pretty quickly, and so we have this big priority list, but we have to prioritize what is that priority of everything on the priority list. And so maybe it's research. Maybe you have about 10,000 different documents on history of your company, history in general of the industry, and you just need a really quick way of doing that research. That could be the main thing of the main things of these priority lists. You might then determine, above all, I don't need a big model to create a bunch of content, but I do need a model that can go out and get information based off of data sources that I have that I believe to be true. And so this is where we have to come and say, what is our priority? Like, really, truly, that number one thing that's going to help free up the creativity and the deep knowledge bench of information that team members have. So people always talk about AI is going to take over jobs, but we're not trying to take over a person's role. What we want to do is make them produce something of a higher quality with the tools that they've given. So let's think about, what is that priority? Is it that priority of being able to quickly review resumes? Is it a priority of being able to quickly ascertain which ads are performing higher than others? So you really do have to make that priority thing, that thing that's going to take up the least amount of that brain energy that could be dedicated to other things, and you'll see the revenue growth, and though you'll see those things start to progress more. You'll see those campaigns start to get more interest and clicks because you're prioritizing certain things that may take you long. You know, we keep moving and we keep testing out tools, and we're like, okay, what's going to make it quick or easier for us to quickly get to the content we need from videos? You know, we're constantly making that change. And because of that thought process, we can then put out better quality videos at a quicker pace, and or be able to recycle the content that we have because we prioritize. It's the editing, it's the getting to the information is the priority for us. How can we get to the information quicker so we can make quicker decisions and we can reach our audience where they're at?
Definitely, prioritization is one thing that really helps us like reach our goals. So what are the future trends in AI powered decision making for businesses, and how can companies prepare for these advancements?
hmm So one of the things that I'm constantly looking for as, you know, the CEO of the company is, what are the tools that are going to allow me to create dashboards so I can see reports in a quicker manner. You know, we want to see the data to be able to make those decisions, to see how effective we're being in the marketplace. And so that is one of the things that I'm looking at. I'm paying attention to, like, how are all the data points connecting? How is what's the privacy like around that? I, as a Microsoft partners, I'm very much looking forward to the next iteration that we're going to see this year with Copilot, and that ability to keep your information, and it not being fed out into other models. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, is that privacy and that ability to be able to make decisions with dashboards, that connectivity that we may need to, in order to say, hey, this is the cost of goods or services for this particular product. We need to tell our client, yeah, they're pricing too low, or they're pricing too high based off of what's going on in the marketplace. Those types of decisions that we can make by taking real time data, and I don't mean necessarily real time as in down to the second, but something that's a little bit more in the same year or information in the same quarter that's been going on in the world to help people make decisions. So those are the things I'm looking forward to. More privatization around the information that we're putting into these models, and then also the ability to be able to make decisions and build a dashboard off of the information that you need, sooner than later.
Exactly. As someone who's also like helping out with our marketing, I definitely agree with seeing like the analytics in one dashboard. Like it's really important for us to know like which is working, which is not working, so we could like improve more on what we're doing for our clients. So, how can businesses effectively measure their AI powered decision making initiatives ROI, and what key metrics should they track?
Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of, let's take at least a yearly review. If you can't do a quarterly, let's take at least a yearly review of all the tools, whether they're AI powered or not, and then let's see what is working and what is not. For us, we're constantly getting emails and contacted by marketing tech companies or ad tech companies that are trying to show us the latest tool that would help our customers, show us the latest tool that will help get more influencers for the brands that we work with. We're constantly getting this, this pull and for our attention to test, because they know that this is what we do. And so, because of that, we are seeing the fact that in order to make these decisions, we might need to implement. And if we implement, we need to know on a more regular basis as to how effective it is. And so again, I have to go back to the statement of you need a campaign or you need a playbook plan. You need to know like what you want that tool and your team to look like in 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And so anytime we're purchasing a tool for either ourselves or we're helping a client to make that decision, I'm thinking about what will this look like once it's implemented? And if I think through that from a playbook standpoint and who's going to be affected, and looking at what's going on in the regulatory markets and industries, because I know that the FTC's got something coming down the pipe that if it gets implemented, it could change. And this tool may no longer be viable. So you have to, it's hard. And this is why companies have to have experts like us on their Rolodex that they can contact, but you have to keep your pulse on what's going on from regulations, what's going on in the industry, as well as what's going on with the team, and ensure that you're making that progress that you need to 6 months, 12 months down the line. So, and at least you should be doing an annual review. But if you can do it more often than that, then that's a good place to be. It's just checking, are we still making those points that we needed to make? Does a team, is the team still using this? Are they still finding value in being able to make better decisions, get their hands on the information that they need, the content they need to put out there to help grow the business?
I definitely agree. So, what key skills and competencies do businesses need to develop within their teams to leverage AI for decision making effectively?
Mhm. So I don't know how to say this. So I'm going to try to say this as best as I can. So as time goes on, this is the approach I'm going to take. So sometimes when I go out and speak, I tell people, the evolution of where we're at today from where we were before. Now, when I first started working in corporate America, I recall file rooms. I recall going into a room that was full of file cabinets and papers and files in there, and that was your security. Everything was put into this file room, and that is how everything was maintained. All of your information was there. And so as I think forward as to like how are we making decisions and how do we know and prepare our teams to be able to use AI? I think back to when I was younger, going to the library, we had the card catalog and you used to have to go and do the search. And then you get your card and you go to the stacks and then you go look for the books. There are some logical steps that people had to take. And so as you work with AI, you have to take logical steps. You have to be very clear with what you want it to do. It's not a brain, it's not thinking for you. And even one on one, when I think sometimes just like we're professional communicators and Kay and I could be on two different pages, right? And she might be thinking one thing and I'm thinking another. And then we get on the call and we're like, oh, that's what you meant. So that's kind of the thing that you have to deal with in terms of AI. I'm afraid that so many people have been used to just pushing a button that they're frustrated or they're not getting the right results back when they ask the AI tool to produce something. So there's this need to get back to how can we formulate logical statements? How can we be very clear in our communication? And I think that there might be a group of people, I don't want to say a generation, because I think this is in every generation, but I think there might be a group of people at various ages that have lost the ability to critically think, to be able to logically think and be able to communicate. And I think that those soft skills are going to really help in terms of training your team internally. I know we all, as managers, business owners, we want people to come with those soft skills. But sometimes people don't realize the areas where they can improve in and they want to improve. So I'm just going to encourage leaders as they think about AI powered tools. Think about helping your team really get to this place of being able to talk logically, communicate logically, because you can tell AI, I want this, but and it gives you back this result, and the result is not wrong, but you realize I should have probably given it like three more sentences to clearly get the outcome that I wanted. And so that's the thing that I would say for how businesses can train internal teams is we're using this technology, but it requires a lot of soft skills.
I definitely agree with that one. Like, it's still really important that we don't rely 100% to AI because having this human touch with what we do is very important actually. So,
Mhm.
um, saying that, my next question is related. This is our last question. How can businesses build trust with their customers and stakeholders regarding the use of AI in their decision making processes?
Now that is a very hard question. And it's a question that ironically, when I was doing the training for the ethics training the other day, I was asked a very similar question. And tell you there's 2 points. There is the financial point of, what will implementing this cost? Where can the business make more money? Where can the business save money? And then there's this ego side to people wanting to be seen as the best, people wanting to be displayed as the best. And so I think that when we put those things forth in our pitches for these tools, they tend to get buy-in a little bit quicker, uh, because they see like there's some point, there's some end game 6 months from now, 12 months from now, that's going to take place. And they're going to expect it. They're going to expect that when you've implemented that some money has been saved, or some money has been earned, or they're going to expect to see that somewhere along the line their company has increased in their brand's reputation, brand recognition in the marketplace over a period of time. So I think that when businesses or team members are trying to convince people, I think leading with those two ways is the way to go. I think that there's this evolution coming of what, AI has many different layers of components to it. We've been working with computer vision for years, and before generative AI was a public thing. And so there's layers to AI that's going to continue to evolve, and we're going to continue to see products evolve. We're going to continue to see tools evolve, and we're going to see the workforce evolve. So I think as long as we keep these things in mind when we're trying to convince someone to utilize AI, convince them to purchase some type of tool that is powered by AI. Those are going to be some of the main things to keep in mind when you're doing that pitch and buy-in. And there's some things that AI just is just not going to do well. And I think that uh, we're going to have to depend on people to continue to push and put boundaries around the things that it's just not going to do well.
I agree. I agree. I also want to add, like, aside from the financial capabilities, we could also add like the customer service point. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of times that with service providers, for example, internet service providers, there are times that they are like mostly relying on their chatbots. So
Oh yeah,
we tend some of them tend to forget that this specific problem like really needs that human touch because
yeah.
most of the time when setting up these chatbots we're only able to put like those frequently asked questions. So we need to ensure that we are still able to give that personalized customer service for each people that we are like connecting with. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I have long, and this is such a sidebar, I have long wanted to advocate for tech companies to have more human options. Because when I take, for instance, Facebook, and you and we have worked on projects and trying to get things fixed on Facebook, things fixed on Google, and you get round and round on forms, you get round and round on auto replies, and that don't resolve the issue. And I feel that, and this is my soapbox before we go, I feel that if we're going to have an instance in the US, we have the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, and they're there to ensure that as you spend your money, you are not being um, swindled, right? And so I feel like if people are spending money with Facebook, they're spending money with Google, you should have the ability to get some type of human contact. Your problem should be able to be touched by a human person because they're taking your money. And so I think as we continue to see these companies grow and they're getting all these millions of customers, I think we have to push back as consumers, as business owners for that customer service level. We at some point when your issue can't be resolved through a FAQ, through a knowledge base, through changing these, following instructions from the website, then this is where I believe every company should have some type of human element implemented. And I think that a lot of the large tech companies have gotten away with this for far too long. But that's my soapbox. I'll stop now.
I 100% agree with your last statement. So, we learned a lot from this session today. Thank you so much, Ebony, for sharing great insights with us again. So, wrapping up this insightful discussion, we highlighted that AI driven decision making has tremendous potential to create value. So, to unlock a six-figure impact, it is important to advance from simple analysis to generating actionable insights. So, by prioritizing ethical considerations and actively working to mitigate biases, we can enhance our approach. Furthermore, measuring ROI and fostering trust among stakeholders will be the key in showcasing our value and securing long term success. Check out our website for free resources on innovation. Follow us on LinkedIn for more valuable insights. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, you missed a couple of upcoming opportunities. Goody Nation is partnering with Lenovo and Intel Corporation for 25K AI grant for CPG and brick and mortar startups in different states, including Miami. Applications are due by February 17th. Learn more on goodynation.org. And that's all the time that we have for today. Thanks for joining us on Soda Chat. We'll be back next month with another exciting episode, so be sure to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss out. Until then, keep innovating and achieving new heights.